he's a great scorer. He's been more aggressive. A lot of people counted him out, and I love to see guys bounce back from that. So, he's a gym rat because he's gotten so much better. So it's good to see him playing well and kind of give him 2 middle fingers to everybody that doubted him last year. I love to see it.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Alan Cutler. Honored and pleased to be with you. Thank you for joining us with Jimmy in control. The first comments, that was by Draymond Green. He was taking his ice packs off after the game, talking about Reed Sheppard. Let's see, what did Reed do last night? He's the youngest player to ever get 30 points without attempting a field goal. How do you do that? A free throw. He was 12 of 29 from the field. Well, that's a great start of the show. 12 of 19 from the field. Jimmy, I can't even read my own handwriting. 12 of 19 from the field, 6 of 12 from downtown. Tossing 6 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 turnovers. He led everybody, Golden State and Houston, in points with 30. Now, I've talked about how much better he's been playing since the All-Star break. That continues. Here's another thing which is interesting. He's become so good on the pick and roll. I mean, it's amazing how good he is. There was a clip. He's going down the lane, and there was someone who was cutting to the basket that looked like would be the obvious person to toss. 2 defenders starting going close because they saw the pass coming. He could have gotten the pass there. He throws a hook pass to the baseline on the other side. Perfect. It's like a hook shot pass. And they get the 3. It's spectacular how well he's playing. And he's finally at the point he's not thinking. He's just playing. And as he said, look, high school was one, had to adjust to college. NBA is a totally different game. This is a star in the makings, a big star in the makings. It's just absolutely incredible. And he's so calm about everything. And his teammates like him so much. It's absolutely unequivocally off the charts. How can you not be happy for him? Really? How can you not be happy for him? And then it was the line the other night. We had 19 points, 7 rebounds, 10 assists. That was a career high. 6 steals. That was a career high. 2 blocks. So when you put the 5 things together, 5 categories, he's the 10th player in NBA history to record or exceed the stat line. Whew. Nobody's surprised that Joker's on that list or James Harden is on that list. How about this? Michael Jordan's on that list. Alvin Robinson, who was a great player back in the day, is on the list. Oh, Bird. Michael Ray Richardson, one of the most underrated players in the last 50 years in the NBA. Sad story. He was unbelievable. He was banned from the NBA because of his drug problems, and then he was a great coach in lower levels, and they never gave him another chance after he cleaned up. And when he passed, I talked about it a little bit because nobody really cares that much about old NBA players that don't have a Kentucky tie. I just thought it was a fascinating story, what his children have accomplished in life and how he cleaned up his act. And there are guys in the NBA said he was absolutely a top 50 player, but he had some problems with drugs. And he finally overcame him and never got enough respect. I mean, I watched him play sometimes, and when he was on, you thought he would get a triple-double a lot. Dr. J's on that list, okay? Chris Webber. Here's a name, Andrea Korolenko, who's a great player in Utah. I love watching his plays. Anyway, he's on that list. And so is LaMelo Ball, Kevin Porter, Allen Iverson. Now, this is a separate list to be 21 or younger to hit 5 consecutive games with at least 4 made threes. Sheppard, Ball, Porter, Iverson. LaMelo Ball has done it 3 times. He's 21 years old, and he's getting on this list. And he's up to averaging 13 points a game. Much better since the All-Star break. 43% from the field, 40% for the season from downtown, and 78% from the free throw line. And I don't think we can talk about him enough. It's amazing. And Jimmy, they put his clips on. The Rockets are really good about that. And most NBA teams are now really good about that, pushing and pushing and pushing. But it is fascinating what percentage of the clips end up being read in the last 3-4 weeks. He's getting more clips than Kevin Durant. Seriously. I want you to think about that. More clips than Kevin Durant. I'm going to do 2 quick notes now because one, is from yesterday. One is a few days before that, and I keep on not getting it on. I think it's cool because of their ties from Lexington. If you listen to my show, you know I brag about Herb did it one time. Herb Sendick. I love Herb Sendick, and he's been one of the most underrated coaches in college basketball in the last 30 years. Well, he's the West Coast Coach of the Year with the job he's doing in Santa Clara. And how about Rod Strickland? And I always wonder why Rod wasn't a head coach earlier. He is a point guard whisperer. He was one of the greatest point guards in the history of the NBA, and really smart and really tough, New York City tough. And he finally becomes a head coach in a job nobody wanted. It's LIU. It's on Long Island. It's not a great area, but he's from the city. He's from New York City. Jimmy, I think he was like 1 for 15, 1 in 15 the first year, stuff like that. He's like reversed it. He's the coach of the year. He's made LIU, because there's so many kids in the New York area that can play, into a really good team in 3 years. And he's going to get offers. He's going to get offers. It's almost kind of sad it took this long before he would get an opportunity to be a head coach. He's really smart. He's really calm. He was with Cal a long time, as you know, and he helped Cal, not a little, but he helped Cal tremendously. Before we're going to do all this UK stuff, which we will normally do, this is a UK tie. Jimmy, give me a thumbs up when you cue up Devin Booker. Devin Booker is not only one of the great players in the NBA and will go down as one of the great players in the history of the NBA. He's got the ear of the owner. He's a really great dude. He's one of the great shooters. And to get where he's gotten to, it took extra sacrifice. So we're playing this soundbite for a couple reasons. One, it really tells you he's not an overnight sensation, duh. And two, if there's any young person out there who happens to be listening and you play ball, male, female, doesn't make a difference, and you play ball, and whether it's basketball, soccer, I don't care. The extra work you put in if you want to be special is kind of everything. It really is. You either sacrifice or you don't. And there's so many athletes when they're 40, they wake up and say, well, you know what, if I gave it more of a shot, if I worked harder, what will I have been? Listen to what Devin Booker, the superstar from Phoenix, what he said he had to do, and you will hear him say this, he'd do it all over again.
I don't want to sound like a kid again, but hang out with your friends and do things on the weekend and go here, go there. I didn't do much of that. At that time in high school. I spent my weekends traveling to Alabama for the whole weekend, practicing with my travel team, the Alabama Challenge. And then during like school days, I would be up before school training and then right after school training. And after that, it was time to go home and go to sleep. So just a lot of sacrifices of being a kid, but, in pursuit to get everything I wanted. And, if I could do it again a million times over, I would do it all again.
I love that. I would do it all over again. He's one of the all-time greats. Think about it. He is already one of the all-time greats in the NBA. I don't think I'm hyping it. I think it's absolutely legit. Sacrifice, 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 sacrifice. To Kentucky playing Florida. I've been saying this, all week. I really believe they have a great shot, not a good shot, but a great shot of what? Beating Florida. I really do. Look, Florida could win the NCAA championship again. There's a whole cluster of teams that are really good. There's a whole cluster of teams that you say would have a great shot. They're in that. And maybe there's a Cinderella, but there's a lot of teams like that. And I'm not going to be surprised if Florida loses another game between now and the end of the real season, the NC2A, and whoever Florida lose to, it's probably going to be an upset, unless they're in the Final Four in a match and maybe they're not favored by a couple points, that kind of thing. But you get it. Florida's special. They are special. What Todd Golden is doing down there, it's absolutely spectacular. But think about tomorrow, and we've been talking about this. You're going to have a capacity crowd going crazy. Senior Day. And I hope the seniors, whether it's Horn or Ortega, I hope they get applause that's as loud as any in the last 40 years. Seriously. Even though this has been an up and down team. Seriously, show your appreciation. I hope you do that. That's up to you. You can sit on your hands if you want. But I'm just saying, through it all, give these kids some love. That's all. When you look at Florida, look, Lee destroyed them. They absolutely destroyed them. They have to be better prepared for that. And one of the weaknesses of Kentucky that I've mentioned a bunch, but not a ton, they're not very good in staying in front of the enemy who has a lot of quickness. It's a problem. And Lee basically did anything he wanted. And when they got Lee, he's had a really nice year, but some people expected more. I loved it when they got him. Ivy League, smart, quick. And on a bad team, he would average more. There's no question about it, but he's there to win. But when you look at the numbers, I mean, Florida is averaging 88 points a game, Kentucky 81. They are ferocious on the board. I mean, ferocious. A 45-38 advantage team-wise, Florida to Kentucky, is a lot. Is a lot. They block more shots than Kentucky, 5 a game. Kentucky has a smidgen more in steals. Turnovers are about the same. Shooting percentage, Florida about 48%. Three-point field goal, this is interesting. Florida stinks. They stink. They're at 31%. They really stink. And Jimmy, I got to tell you, when I saw that number, I knew it wasn't good, but I didn't realize it was that bad. That's really bad. That's tough to win the national championship. You better make up for it in other areas. And free throw shooting, both teams stink. Florida's at 71%, Kentucky's at 72%. I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize that I keep on talking about free throws and how important they are. They are, and it's hurt Kentucky tremendously. Not a little, but tremendously this year. Pounding the boards. Look, if Marino and Garrison get in quick foul trouble, Kentucky's screwed. They are. They're screwed. And how Mo Diabate has played with Ramadan and having breakfast 5:30 in the morning, whatever before sunrise is, and then not even putting water in his mouth to swish out with respect for what he's doing and how well he's played. What was he, 8 for 9 the other day? It's incredible to me how well he's played. So I hope the Zebras have nothing to do with it and they just let the kids play. But if Kentucky doesn't bang, they're screwed. They're screwed. I think everybody knows that. There's just no way they have a shot. No way they have a shot. I'm going to be talking about the game in a second, but I want to play clip number 7 from Pope. Jimmy, give me a thumbs up when you have it. So everybody knows that recruiting in this offseason will be huge. There's going to be very few players left from this team. One, and Pope still has to prove he can lure in a great high school player who isn't from the state of Kentucky. Hasn't done it yet. And maybe he can do it all with transfers. I'm open-minded to anything as long as you get enough of the right players. But this is huge. And he's kind of saying what I expected, that I can't imagine there's a team in the country right now on a major college level that isn't donating staff to not only expecting who might be available, but anticipating at the same time. There's a lot of great players who want to make more money. Kentucky's one of many places that you pay much more money. So they're obviously doing their homework, and then they're going to have to pounce. But I like how Pope put it. Here is clip number 7 talking about recruiting.
Some of that you don't even know exactly how it's going to pan out. But everywhere that the NCAA declares is legal for us to recruit, we'll explore in depth. We're not going to, I'm not trying to go rewrite any rules, but whatever rules there are, we'll play in that space. Some of the rulings, there are some nuances that are still unclear as always that we're trying to figure out. But in terms of our, what's interesting is I'm not going to make them public because that would be illegal, but your recruiting board becomes so massively expansive.
As it should be. I wonder what the average recruiting board is at places like Kentucky and Alabama and Tennessee and Florida and UCLA and stuff like that. If they have A boards and B boards and C boards and stuff like that, and the getting of footage on these kids and doing the background checks on these kids. I mean, head coach can't do this stuff. Pope isn't doing this stuff. And for everybody complaining that Pope hasn't hired a general manager yet, I said this the other day and I stand by it. It sounds like he wants to, but it sounds like he hasn't found somebody he's comfortable with yet. That's important. It needs to be done. But you don't want the man to hire somebody he's not comfortable with. And I'm sure, well, I happen to know, but I am sure he's been bombarded. Think about all the former UK players that are assistant coaches and in different levels in the NBA and management and stuff like that. I'm sure he's been bombarded from people saying, I'd like to be your general manager. And I'm sure he's being told by a lot of former players who've called him up or text or whatever and saying, I can do the job. But he's got to be convinced. He's got to be convinced. But at a certain point, you got to pull the trigger. And, Jimmy, it'll be interesting to see if the trigger is pulled before this opens up, the portal opens up. Wouldn't bet either way. But I think he wants one. I do. I think he's having trouble making a decision. And what doesn't make any sense to me, it's not just former Kentucky players, but he's got assistant coaches that are very well connected who probably have recommended a person or two, or a friend of Pope's someplace outside of Kentucky has recommended somebody, just hasn't pulled the trigger. He's got to pull the trigger. He's got to pull the trigger. And look, come on. Pope's not stupid. He knows this is a huge recruiting season. Huge recruiting season. So it's senior day. Jimmy, let's go to clip number 3 as we're bouncing around today. And this is a lovely comment, as you would expect, by Pope on Oweh.
He's one of the kindest, most well-spoken guys we've had play here. He just is he's a special human being, and he's had an epic run that we're excited to finish off in a great way.
By the way, I failed to mention that at 12:30, Bo Allen, former Kentucky quarterback, will be joining us. Then at 1 o'clock, I bet he brings his version of the retired notebook. Jerry Tipton, always with some really terrific thoughts, the Hall of Famer. And then one of the great UK point guards of all time, Sean Woods, 1:30. So looking forward to all of that. And Oweh, in the comment he made the other day, that this has gone even better than he expected. Think about it. It's Kentucky. He knew it was Kentucky. You don't know until you come here. But playing at Rupp Arena and playing for Kentucky, even with the ups and downs, even though they haven't gone to a Final Four, has been better than he anticipated. And I think that's pretty cool. I do. I absolutely do. He respects what this place is, which is exactly what you want. Let's go to an obvious comment. It's clip number 1, and it's Pope talking about Florida. And here's the key. Kentucky's gotten better since December. Everybody knows that. They've had some bad clunkers, but they've gotten better. But if you're going to say to yourself, which team has improved more with less or fewer setbacks in the quality of their play, there's no question Florida has improved tremendously more than Kentucky. They have. And there are ways Kentucky's improved a lot. But they are consistent with their inconsistency. That's what they've been doing, and Florida has been way more consistent. And when the pools come out, I don't know how it's going to shake out yet. I'm sure there are going to be a lot of people picking Florida to repeat. I can't imagine anybody picking Kentucky to win, unless you're, a person who says Kentucky's never to lose a game and stuff like that. I mean, who's going to pick Kentucky? So they can fly under the radar. Here is clip number 1. Mark Pope talking about Florida.
Yeah, I think they've gotten better and better and better for sure. I think they're, I think that they're, they're just relentless with their physicality. They're just is, they seem unfazed by any amount of contact.
Unfazed by any amount of contact. It's a really good line, and they really do seem unfazed. And they got at least a couple of those bigs going to play pro ball forever, and maybe one of the guys off the bench. We'll see. But they're going to have at least a couple guys play in the NBA or somewhere in the world forever. They're big and they're strong, and Howe has really improved tremendously. So the bigs. This is kind of a gobbledygook comment, and I call it gobbledygook. I'm smiling, not to be do I sound like I'm about to be disrespectful to Pope, Jimmy? Do you think I'm being disrespectful?
I mean, calling it gobbledygook is a little
I'm smiling.
condescending, maybe.
I don't. Okay, then maybe I'm using. I kind of like that word. I don't use it very often. There's a Pope meter, okay? And when someone is so positive about everything, okay, I have a big mouth. Everybody knows I have a big mouth. But if I yell all the time, that's called monotone. If I'm soft-spoken all the time, that's monotone. I'm sure I could do a better job, but my voice fluctuates naturally. Maybe not good enough for some or others, whatever, doesn't make a difference. But it's not the same tone all the time. And I don't push my voice for the sake of. I just do it if that's what I feel. And because Pope is so positive all the time, some of the time, with his compliments, they just go over my head. They just go over my head. There's the thing about Yelovich when he's talking about him. We'll probably play it. I'm going, okay, maybe I don't see it, but I don't see it. I don't see it. And I wonder if his wife has talked to him about this. I wonder if anybody has talked to him about this. I mean, okay, you can say that's Mark, and that's great. Okay. But you now are the caretaker of one of the great college programs of all time, not just in basketball, one of the great college programs of all time, who's in a 6-year slump. Basically, I know Sweet 16, but it's basically a 6-year slump. And because of that, there is added responsibility as far as I'm concerned. And I bet many of you think there's added responsibility. And so I mean this with respect. Jimmy, is this before your time? And occasionally, I would, not very often, I would play a clip on TV of Holtz's Monday press conferences, very, very rarely. And God bless Lou Holtz. He helped out more people as people. He was a great coach, a great human being, and one of the most positive people you'll ever meet in coaching. And he helped out so many. But the standing joke with Lou Holtz was he would take the Sisters of the Poor, and by the time he was done, it was like they were the Four Horsemen. Jimmy, does anybody know nobody's old enough to know who the Four Horsemen is, right? Unless you know history. Do you know who the Four Horsemen are? You're smiling at me.
Were they was the Four Horsemen's the way it was? No, I don't think I do. If
Well,
you give me the answer, it might ring a bell.
okay, when you look it up, and then you'll know why I'm mentioning that with Lou Holtz. It was before Lou Holtz's time. So when Holtz they're playing the cupcake part of their schedule, and they're playing somebody they could beat 59-0, and he's building them up in the press conference, and it was expected, and he got away with it, and there would be chuckles and stuff like that. I'm not saying that Pope is Lou Holtz. He is the closest thing to Lou Holtz, which I guess is a compliment, that I've ever seen with a coach talking to the media. So, Jimmy, when you said I was being condescending with gobbledygook, maybe to some it is. I don't mean it that way. I really don't. But when you're positive about everything, not everything is positive. And by the way, I'm not suggesting he should rip his players or anything like that. I'm not suggesting that. He shouldn't do that. But when you're positive to a point that is absurd, which it is, you lose some credibility. Do you like credibility better than gobbledygook?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that the calling it gobbledygook is wrong, but because it does kind of makes it gobbledygook, coach speak, whatever you want to say.
Okay, coach speak would be okay, but everybody uses coach speak, so I came up with gobbledygook. Can you tell I'm smiling when I say gobbledygook?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that it's not gobbledygook. I'm just saying when people hear you describe it, like preemptively saying, "Hey, here's some gobbledygook," you're gonna go, "Oh, okay." But then when you hear it, it could still be correct.
I'm now getting more and more people agreeing with me that he's just too positive. Now, if they were 25-0, would I still say this? Probably, but it'd be less apropos because some of his. I'm sorry, Jimmy. You are making me. It's the first time you've made me do anything in 4 years. You are making me do something. My career has gone straight downhill, which might have been before anyway. There wouldn't be as much gobbledygook because they're 25-0. You're going to agree with that, right?
100%, yes.
Has this show gone totally off the rails? Even for me?
Now, if we started breaking down the Four Horsemen, it might be. Yeah.
Did you look up the Four Horsemen?
I did, yes. It's the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
I'm talking about the college football.
Oh, you just The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse is a thing. That's where I was more going to.
Oh, okay. Look up Four Horsemen unless I've totally lost my mind, and I will apologize to you. It's before your time. It's before my time. It's before your parents' time. It's before your grandparents' time.
Yeah, from the 1924 Notre Dame team. Yeah.
Bingo. And go look at the players on the team. Who are the Four Horsemen?
Harry Shrudler, Don Miller, Jim Crowley, and Elmer Layden.
Yeah. They were household names. So if you're playing with the Four Horsemen, it's understandable. That was struggle. That was a struggle. That was a struggle. Meanwhile, did we play clip 4?
No.
Okay. You decide if there's any gobbledygook in here. Not really. Clip number 4. Pope on his TEAM.
I like our guys, man. I like where we are. I like this group. I like the fact that we just got punched and pummeled and beat up and got up and got up and got up and experienced. And we're a veteran, hardened, warrior of a team that I think is poised to have a chance to make a real run here because of everything we've experienced this season.
By the way, I really like the last 2 lines. It's not gobbledygook. It's, I think, bullseye. And here's the point. By the way, there's 9:30 to go in the second quarter. South Carolina leads Kentucky 24-16 as Strack just missed a 3. I think they are hardened, and I think they're battle tested, and I buy all that. And I could make a case where they would just, boom, fall apart, and I can make a case where they can surprise a lot of people. So that comment isn't gobbledygook. It's just not. It's just not. We're going to play one more. Let's go to clip number 5. Yelovich and talking about the physicality not being great against A&M.
That's his thing, man. When he's physical out there, when he's really engaged, when he just is seeking a hit, trying to get contact, he plays great. And he has a really positive impact on the game. For him, it's just not his natural space, right? And so he knows the challenge. He's working hard to adopt that mentality, and you can actually grow into that. That's a skill that you can learn. He's in the process of learning, but he shoots it. He can pass it. He makes good read. He's got good feet. He can catch a move. There's so many things he can do. All of that is next level.
Next level. I'm concerned about his quickness and staying in front of somebody. I'm actually surprised that Yelovich hasn't been a better shooter this year. I tell you what is not surprising. Bo Allen coming up next. It's not surprising anytime you walk onto the lot of Quantrell, whether it's Volvos, Subarus, or Cadillacs. As I said a million times, we now have had 3 vehicles from Quantrell going back over a decade. We've had a couple Cadillacs. Oh, what a car. We haven't had a Subaru, but we now have a Volvo, the VC60, and it's a hybrid, and it's wonderful, and it's saving us a lot of money on gas. You get 41 miles before it flips over to gas, and the pickup is wow. And taking it on a long drive, wow. Taking it around town, it's a wow. It is a beautiful vehicle, and I really like how they treat you as people. They are a people organization that just happens to sell cars. It's really that simple. And Brentley and Mark have become friends of mine. They take care of you. They want you to come back. And I was coming back having nothing to do with this radio show. Nothing, because they treated me right. And they took care of me. I said, I wanted this. Can you find it? And they found it. And they will find it for you. They will absolutely find it for you. So check them out. Quantrell, Volvos, Subarus, Cadillacs, a people organization that sells cars. They are terrific. Bo Allen coming up next. I'm excited. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
March is here, and Clark's Pump and Shop has the game-winning specials to keep you fueled all month long. Whether you're hitting the road to catch a game or hosting a watch party, we've got unbeatable monthly deals. Stop in and pick up assorted M&M or Twix share-size candy bars, 2 for $4, and Mike and Ike's or Hot Tamales stand-up bags, 2 for $7. This March, make every stop a winner at Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler, and I've spent years on these roads, and safety isn't a slogan to me, it's real life. That's one reason I trust Volvo. Quantrill Volvo has been part of this community for years. Brentley and Mark are friends of mine, and they run the dealership the right way with care, integrity, and real respect for the people they serve. If safety, smart design, and peace of mind matter to you, start your search at Quantrill Volvo. We have the XC60, the hybrid. We love it. Best car we've had in 43 years, and it is really smooth. And we're saving money on the gas. Right now, get financing as low as 0.99% APR for 36 months on most 2026 models. Visit QuantrillVolvo.com. See dealer for details.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
2019, he's the Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Kentucky. He led Lexington Catholic to the 3A state championship. He only threw for 3,000 yards plus and 40 touchdowns that season. It's a good thing he couldn't throw the ball, right? And a scramble and can run and had a great sense and feel of what was going on. Played at Kentucky, got the start at Tarleton State. A wonderful young man. And I'm not surprised in the background, if you're watching on YouTube, with a white shirt and tie. Your dad, I'm sure, is proud. Bo Allen, how are you? Thanks for joining me. And I know it took a while to hook our schedules up, but I appreciate your time. How you doing, man? What are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm a financial planner and advisor with Kentucky Planning Partners here in our Lexington office, but that's what I've been doing ever since the season ended, and I'm blessed to be around with a lot of great people. And thank you very much for having me. I'm really excited to do this again.
And with your dad being in finance, a local president, we always thought that you were geared towards that direction, like you were a person that was very forward thinking and had a plan at an early age, yes?
Yes, I've always been interested kind of in the field of finance. I'm not necessarily, I guess, in the banking field, but always have been interested. And but yes, I have. I've always been interested in this field, and had a good way to kind of begin doing this when football was over.
So, how do you describe the last year of Kentucky football? Stoops, no Stoops.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's tough. It's bittersweet. I think very highly of Stoops and all the coaches I've played for that worked for him. But I think obviously we had some ups and downs in the season, and we just weren't good enough. I think it's understandable, even as a player, that we really didn't finish well. And then we had a good spurt, I think, in the middle of the season. But I think that again, as bittersweet as it is, I think the world of Coach Stoops. But it seems like the new guys are also doing good things, and I think sounds like they're doing all the right things to kind of begin that transition and get the team going.
So you're really excited about Stein, and at this point it's a hype, but it's good hype. So it's a beautiful thing, and on paper it looks like they're bringing in some good football players.
Yes, it does. Yeah, I would say that some of the guys I still keep in touch with on the team, they think well of them. Same as well as Coach Stoops. Again, it's a pretty bittersweet thing, but I think that everybody's obviously like you said, there's hype, and it's a good hype as any new coach would be, but it seems like they're doing well, and it's going well.
Miss playing, miss putting the jersey on, miss tossing the ball.
I think I think there's maybe when football season comes around, it'll be a little bit different, but there's things you miss, there's things you don't miss. So, but I'd say here and there a little bit, but I'd say, I definitely do miss it some.
I'm looking for humor here, not some deep, dark secret. I think you know me a little bit, Bo.
Yes.
Okay. So give me the thing that you don't miss that'd be humorous to share if you got something.
Yeah, I would say probably that I felt like probably in my last 2 years, I felt that I always thought, especially now in this day and age of football, if we're really not practicing for all that long, I would say that practice probably isn't the thing I don't miss. I mean, I enjoyed throwing the football, but we would meet a lot. And I mean, any team meets a lot. And I mean, I've played football, obviously in college for 6 years, and you can only have so many new plays. So I've probably gone over a few plays, probably about 100+ times in my life when it comes to those meetings that's something I don't miss, probably for sure.
Yeah. Seriously now, is it possible with all the meetings that it becomes draining? So, and this is not a comment on Stoops or anybody else, but
Yeah.
I'm coming from a freshness point of view. Not
Yes.
whether you're playing basketball or football, and you've heard this line a million times, whatever the sport is, you got to have your legs on Saturday. But I have wondered if sometimes if you're in meetings like around the clock, plus you got to go to school, and you wouldn't be a white shirt and a tie and having the terrific position that you have if you didn't go to school. So I wonder sometimes if it's too much. Does that make any sense?
Yes, I think there are times where it could potentially be that way, but I think any coach I've played for, they've always done a good job. But when it leads up to Saturday, you feel mentally and physically pretty ready. You know what I'm saying? Maybe on Tuesday and Wednesday, like let's say if you got like this past year, that Tuesdays and Thursdays were the only days I had class. And I would so obviously my Mondays and Wednesdays were pretty free before practice and stuff, but Tuesdays and Thursdays were pretty booked up. So you have a bunch of classes. Thursdays were big meeting days on us, so we'd probably meet for 2 to 3 hours. So at the end of those days, you definitely would feel mentally exhausted. But I would say that once you get to Saturday, you feel fine. You feel ready to go.
Okay. By the way, I guess you didn't consider it, but I always thought when I saw you in high school and as smart as you are, you'd be a hell of a quarterback coach or a coordinator or maybe someday a head coach. Did you ever think about that?
Yes, I really thought about it deeply for a long, long time. I think that I have always, ever since I was probably in high school, I've just been interested in the finance world too. But I thought probably until my freshman or sophomore year of college, I thought coaching would definitely be something I'd be interested in. And I was interested in it for a while. I just thought that obviously, anybody knows it's a tough life for a lot of these people, and many jobs are too. But I think that's probably maybe why the ultimate reason why I decided to not go down that route. If I had to pick one reason, that'd be a major one.
God bless all these assistant coaches, male, female, whatever, it doesn't make a difference. The amount of time you spend on the road,
Yes,
the nighttime calls or the Zoom calls when you got maybe 2 little kids at home and then you're gone, sunrise and sometimes before, sometimes afterwards. It's not it's not easy, keeping a family together.
Yeah, so I would say like at this time in my life, it would work out perfectly. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm engaged, but we don't have kids. So I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't think it'd be a problem at all. And I think the coaches do a good job of it. Like there'd be a few days of the week where the families would come in and have dinner with us. But that's what kind of like one thing I've kind of thought about in one way or the other. And somebody could say this is a negative, but like think about like your career. And I don't understand the media career, obviously like the paths and everything you took like you do, but in a lot of jobs, like the harder you work, the better you get of your life from working in the same field for 40 years, 50 years, like a lot of coaches do. And I mean, a lot of people do, and we're in their respective fields, but usually you can get to a point where maybe you can hopefully still experience some of the rewards with maybe having to, I guess, be a little more flexible with your time. But kind of like in coaching, like I think about Nick Saban, I mean, the greatest college football coach of all time. And when he was at his peak, after he built all the years, still winning 5 national championships, like after that, or however many national championships he had, like after that last national championship, he still has to do the same stuff he did the year prior. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of like, it obviously everything compounds within himself, but maybe that job doesn't as much compared to some other fields.
Did the game change much from when you were a star in high school to your final practice and game at Kentucky? Besides NIL and money, was there anything else that really changed?
It seemed like a lot defenses were getting a lot more aggressive and risky throughout the back end of my college career. Like it felt like each year, like for example, like on third down, a lot of teams will do some pretty exotic stuff, and they've been doing that for ever since football was created, like doing different types of blitzes, sending the house, maybe dropping everybody, trying to make it look like one or the other. But a lot of teams, I feel like the past 2 years have been starting to incorporate more of that kind of third down mentality on first and second down. So it seems like there's just a lot more uniqueness, a lot more stuff you would hopefully be able to plan for. But it seems like this in my last 2 years at Kentucky, it felt like there's just a lot more creativity from the defensive side compared to my first 2 years playing in the SEC.
Well, Alan, kind enough to join us for another couple minutes. South Carolina right now, 29-2, leading Kentucky, who's 23-9, 40-21 with 3:01 to go in the second quarter. And if they continue to get blown out, you can't look down on them for this. This is South Carolina, and many people think that South Carolina will either win the national championship or has a great shot. And Kentucky played them really good at home about a week ago, where they actually won the fourth quarter. So I'm not going to get down on them losing to South Carolina like this, not me. And actually, even though they didn't have a great season in the SEC, it's so battle tested, they could end up being really good in the NCAA tournament. Digression, Bo. Excuse me. So, you ever think about if when you were in high school and being courted to wherever you were playing, you would have made a lot of money coming out of high school. And,
Yeah.
the way you are and your dad in finance, you'd have put that money away, and you might have been set up.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. Like a lot of my buddies in my class, so we'll talk about that or previous years. But no, it's all. I mean, I think NIL is a thing that needed to happen, and it was a eventual thing that was going to happen. But it's all good. I'm very blessed, and it's just wonderful people in my life. But it is funny to think about. I think it's probably something that I'd say a few group chats of people in my class or years older, it is talked about a little bit.
I don't see how you can't talk about it. It's just kind of a normal thing how it goes. Do you have any concern? First of all, I'm all for players getting paid from the get-go, and there were players getting paid under the table for a long time, not as many, whatever. I'm not talking about cheating or nothing. That's not where I'm coming at, where you're at, Bo. But is there a point in time that this system isn't sustainable? So on the one hand, I don't want to be a hypocrite. If somebody wants to pay you something, God bless, more power to you. But on the other hand, what I see happening is the obvious is that, okay, you got two great quarterbacks in the top five, and you got powerhouse programs bidding up and back. And I didn't think this would collapse, but I didn't think this stuff would still go up and up and up and up. I don't know if this is sustainable, and I suspect there will be some teams that will not have money. And some of these programs have been pretty good, and they're just going to fall by the wayside. I mean, it's going to be survival of the fittest. And over the next 5 years, I think there's going to be a lot of programs in trouble. And I'm not smart enough to know how to fix this. Do you see this as this crumbling, or you think I'm being just an old fuddy-duddy who's I'm not looking for the worst, but I do know there are programs that don't have a lot of money?
Yes. No, I think it's kind of more, I mean, I guess the root of it would, I guess, just be honestly a lot of just the donors, I guess, frankly, you know what I'm saying? And I think with a bigger university like Kentucky and, or just being in a conference like the SEC, I mean, I would say to make this short, I would definitely say yes. I think a lot of programs would have more struggles with that in the future. I mean, let's say, for example, if a school like, I mean, let's say like a few group of five schools are probably really getting by two or three people, if I had to guess, you know what I'm saying? Really, I guess, bringing a lot of the money to give these kids. And then what happens whenever they're done giving, you know what I'm saying? I guess. And I think that's a great point that you made, but I think with some bigger schools like in the SEC and probably more power four conferences, I mean, there'll probably continuously just be more younger people and people in their 30s, 40s, 50s that are making a lot of money that would want to give money to their program. So maybe it's not as I guess it'll kind of be more hit or miss. I think it'll probably be a sporadic thing if there's a few programs out there that run out of some money or the donors aren't given as much money as they previously were.
Yeah, plus I think there are going to be some people who are generous and give a bunch of money, and the team doesn't play as well as expected. And that donor might say, well, I just gave you all this money, and I didn't get a return on my investment, and the team wasn't very good. Why should I do it again? To me, this is fascinating. I don't think anybody has a handle about what's going to happen. I certainly don't, Bo. I don't know if you do.
No, I don't think I have a handle at all. I think I kind of have somewhat of an opinion, I guess, where I think probably, hopefully, over the course of the next 5 years, I think they, like Dan, you may have seen Dan Lanning talk about this, but if they were to move up the schedule, it would save a lot of problems with the portal first. But I think eventually they'd probably have to get some sort of structure that involves contracts and kind of go. Maybe the only reason why a contract would be able to be breached is if you left for the NFL or if the coach left. I think that'd be more efficient, and I mean pretty much running like the NFL, I guess, basically.
See, and that's a great point because I've talked about it. You know, the colleges say we don't want to copy NFL. I'm going, I don't care what it is. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. And if somebody does it better in another league, well, copy it. And if you can make it better, then you can make it better. But there have been times, let's say, with a shot clock. I'm certainly getting away from football on purpose. Where they say, no, the NBA has that, so we can't do it. I'm going, is it better for the college game? That's all that matters.
Yes.
Is it better for the college game? Don't play politics and goofy stuff.
Yes, I mean, in a lot of ways, besides walk-ons and some scholarship players who probably don't get any money outside their scholarship. I mean, it is just like the NFL nowadays. It's just that there's just less regulation, so it's kind of like there's not many benefits that we get from comparing ourselves to the NFL. It's like we're kind of the only things that are similar from the college and the NFL are kind of that people get paid and there's just no regulation with it.
I'm going to guess that your highlight was winning the state championship as the quarterback for Lexington Catholic, and that's the greatest sports memory you have. One, tell me about that game if it's true, and two, if there's something else, please let me know.
I actually never did win a state championship at Catholic. They won a few before me, but I would say one of my best memories.
Wait a second, did you get to the championship game? And I thought it was
No, we had a few rough rounds at Boyle County or Belfry, probably about the third round of high school. It's some good teams.
I went on my memory, and I humbly apologize.
No worries at all.
So, what's the most fun game you've ever had playing quarterback on any level?
I would say at the first game I played at Tarleton, we played Mississippi Valley State. That was a great one because it kind of a big reason for me to leave was obviously to play. And it was kind of, I guess, very fulfilling to do so. I think the Auburn game obviously is a little ugly of a game this past year. That was great just because of obviously we were struggling. Felt like we were really close to winning some big games, and that was one of the more fun locker rooms I've probably ever been a part of. Was that? I mean, we guys at that we were 0-4 or 0-3 in the conference, maybe 0-5, I think, right before that time. But that was a big one, and so I'll go back. LSU in 2021 was a huge one. We beat the brakes off of them. We ran the ball very, very well, and it kind of, I thought, solidified us as a real contender within the conference that year as well.
I thought that I remember that game that Kentucky in the trenches said, not today. We are better in the trenches. Oh, yeah. As somebody, you're like a lot of guys who I believe were good enough to start at all kinds of places, but not everybody can start. Do you ever, when you're on the sideline, say to yourself, I could do a better job, but you're a team guy, you would never say a word and you'd be a good. What goes through the mind of somebody who's on the sidelines when you see maybe a good friend not really playing well and say, I can do this? What is the psychology and the thought process in your cranium?
Yeah, I think it's a great question because I think I've probably experienced two different sides of that spectrum. I think when I first, and I was never wishing bad upon anybody or any teammate of mine or anything like that. I think when you're young and when you're a freshman in college and you've never really had, you've always pretty much gotten anything you wanted athletic wise. I think that at that time in my career, again, we went to a bowl game, and again, I never ever wished anything bad upon any teammate of mine or anybody playing in front of me. But you maybe don't take it as I think probably when I was a freshman, sophomore, I kind of felt a little sorry for myself and not getting as best as I could be in a backup position or looking to see what could help out the team. But then kind of on the back end of my career, it was all about just how can I be a better player and how can I help out the team? And you really don't think about anything else. And that makes yourself a lot more happy and it actually just helps out everything. So I think I've had two different experiences there of feeling a little sorry for yourself, but then also looking past that and just seeing how I can just be the best I can be. And that'll help everybody else out too.
That's a great description. And it would seem to me that there are tens and tens and tens of thousands of athletes who probably went through a similar thing. as you grow and develop, and part of it because you're so used to playing. You're so used to being the man. It's a very, very tough transition. Guy was a big star. You were a big star in high school, and all of a sudden, hey, Bo, can you carry the clipboard? It can't be easy.
Yes. No, I mean, if I think at the back end of my career, all we really focused upon was really just getting myself better and making the team better. And then really, I mean, I think any worries outside of that, that's kind of just wasted almost. You know what I'm saying? If you're thinking I should be playing and that sort of thing. I mean, if you just focus on yourself getting better and helping out the team, it'll all work out.
You know, if somebody like you would be good to talk to the team. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they bring guys back to talk to the team. If you were talk to just the freshmen, well, the whole team, but especially freshmen, to counsel them and to advise them of what to expect, to try to make the adjustment, because very few freshmen are going to play like they did in high school right away. It's just not the real world. What kind of advice would you give to a freshman coming into, whether it's Kentucky, whether it's Eastern Kentucky, whether it's Louisville, whether it's Cincinnati? People are people, and it's really the same kind of thing.
Yes, I would say I pretty much said kind of what I said earlier was, and don't really worry about anything else besides making yourself better and making the team better. And then that will obviously get yourself better to hopefully get in a spot in the future to play. I would say prepare like you are preparing for the position that you want, not the position that you are in. And I would say that so those are honestly my biggest two things: is prepare and act and work like you're the starter, work like you're the leader of the team, work like you're maybe a Heisman contender, because that's what you probably want to be. But even though if you're not in a position to maybe do so that year, you need to work and prepare for it, because you never have any idea when your number will be called.
Tough having longevity. Have you thought about how I thought Mark built the program and did a wonderful job, the big blue wall and all that kind of stuff, and it fell apart. Did you ever think about why it fell apart, or just things happen? And I think he should be applauded for going to a gazillion bowl games in a row. That's not a small feat. This is not Alabama. Absolutely. But what he did, I respect tremendously, actually. But it did fall apart. Did you ever wonder, did he change? Did certain things changed? Was it bad luck? Maybe some plays happening in the third quarter, which might have turned it around, which gets you a win, which gets you something else. I'm sure you guys have analyzed it. Is there anything you can share about that?
I would say, I mean, one thing I can kind of maybe point out a little, I guess more specifically regarding like something like the offensive line, was I remember my first 2 years before the portal really started being what the portal is today. I mean, I would say every SEC team really felt like their second string offensive line could go out there and start for about every MAC school, many schools. Like they would feel very confident about pretty much the entire two deep. And I think once the portal hit, that's just where it changes so many issues with that. I mean, think of a guy like me, where at the time, like a lot of for example, yeah, like we talked about earlier, I was going to be like the second string quarterback probably the year before I left. But it's much harder for any team, but especially teams that we're playing Georgia, Alabama, Texas, all those teams every week. But I would say the depth is where we have probably where we're facing the hardest times and what we have probably the past few years, because I mean, like, and probably from Coach Stoops' time here that he started to when he ended, I mean, the offensive line probably featured 4 to 5 juniors and seniors that have been there since they were a freshman. And it's just something it's not a problem against Kentucky. It's just kind of how it is. And obviously I took advantage of the portal, but a lot of times it's just not an ideal situation to have these guys not really be able to play probably till they're 3 or 4 years into the program, which kind of is much more harder to construct as we did in prior years.
So when you go to the stands and you watch them this year, are you quiet? Or if it's an away game and you're watching on TV, do you yell and scream at the TV? You always seemed like a really calm and cool guy. I can see you getting up and cheering for a touchdown, but I can't see you ever getting up and say anything derogatory. I mean, I can see you being quiet, knowing that, people are going to know who you are and that kind of stuff. What kind of fan are you going to be now?
I'll probably honestly be pretty similar to what you just said. If I had to guess, I would say, like, if I have a buddy that scores a touchdown, I'll probably get pretty excited. or really if anybody on the team does, but especially if a friend of mine, like I'm still pretty in touch with like Willie Rodriguez and Henry Boyer from this past year's team. And obviously if they make a play, I'll be really excited, but it'll be a little bit different just in terms of like, even like last year, if like, obviously I know what play is called every time before it's called, that I would have some negative reactions if something didn't go our way, or I knew something maybe could have gone differently if we executed it a little bit better. But I don't think I'll be very negative at all, especially just with obviously not understanding as much as what's going on compared to I have.
I can't see you being negative. Do one last thing. It's silly. This is just silly.
No.
Humor me for a second. Do you mind?
Mhm.
Give a play call where you've got 3 or 4 different options. Just spurt it out like you would spit it out, to your teammates. It's just anything, whatever it is. Not that really. Am I going to understand what the hell you're saying? Of course not. But go ahead.
Okay, I wanted to see if I could find a text from. I probably won't be able to in a good time frame. But Coach Cohen and Rich Scangarillo had some really long ones that were probably kind of funny. But there'll be like a dual right, Y go, X2, rip spider, for example. So it'd be like a 2x2 formation.
Okay.
Let's say we're on the right hash. And so the Y with the tight end, the Y go means a motion. So the tight end's gonna be on the right side. That's where the right, like the dual right. So we're gonna call it the right means the Y and the Z on the right side. So the Y goes out to a motion to the left. I'll say Z2 actually instead of X2. The Z has a slant, just a 3-step slant, and then the spider means like spacing. So you have like a little tight, like there'll be a route that goes over the ball about 5 yards, just right over the center's head. Then you got like a hook, probably about 6 yards, probably about 10 yards wider than that over the ball. And then you got the tight end going outside.
Well, whatever your first word was, you lost me. Plus, a year or so ago, you would have spit that play out really quick, right?
Oh yeah, no, I've been in so many offenses, like I couldn't really remember a lot of these names anymore.
I can see that. I've said this forever. Once I finally found out what the huddle is like, anybody who calls football players stupid is stupid.
Oh no, I mean I was even like I've played football for a very long time, as you know, but like if somebody made me line up as a receiver and just get in the huddle, I mean I would think I'd have to think for a second. I could rip a play off my tongue really quickly from being a quarterback, and I can understand where everybody's at. But even something like a receiver, like just knowing exactly where they're supposed to go to the yard, I mean I would have trouble doing that today for sure.
I understand. Again, you lost me on the first word. Tell everybody again what you're doing. Give yourself a great plug. Really proud of the person you are. And please make sure you say hi to your dad, who I don't, I've only talked to a few times, obviously through the years, but way back in the day, when he was a backup quarterback, Kentucky, I had a ton of respect for him.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you. Let me say, but I'm a financial planner and advisor at Kentucky Planning Partners in our Lexington office. But I really appreciate it. I've had a lot of fun doing this.
You want to throw a number out if somebody wants to contact you? I'm happy you're getting a free plug. Your call.
No, we just set up our Lexington office. We don't have our office phone set up yet, but we got a website. It's kpp.com.
Okay, so the next time we talk, you'll have a background. Does that why you have a white background?
Yeah. Well, I'm in my office. I don't have too many. I got a photo of I guess it was McLean Stadium. I forgot the name of Stoll Field. It's right over here to the right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All good.
Yeah.
Maybe sometime during the year after a game on a Monday or Tuesday, we can analyze the game if something like that, if it can fit in your schedule.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Hey, bless you, dude. I'm proud of who you are and what you're doing and stuff like that. And you've always handled yourself with class. And thanks for putting up with my silly humor.
No, thank you. It was fun. I wish I was as funny as you are.
Thanks, Bo. Have a great day. Appreciate you.
You too. Bye.
Bo Allen. Just a wonderful young man. Jimmy, you should have seen him in high school. You should have seen him in high school. I wonder if Jerry ever saw him in high school. Probably not. He was always covering Kentucky. But dude was really good. Smart. And let me tell you, Jimmy, he'd scramble and run around and could throw on the run and stuff like that. Plus, he's a wonderful young man. Wonderful young man. His dad was really nice to me. I didn't bring up what we were on, but when he committed, I called his dad and I got the exclusive thanks to his dad. Went to Lexington Catholic High School in the back. He was there right on time. And he was one of those kids when I think the first time I talked to him, he was a junior, I think. And I didn't interview him very much in high school, so I didn't do a lot of high school interviews at that particular point in my career. But the first time he talked to me, I go, okay, this kid's really smart. Oh, okay, I remember his dad. Yeah, not surprised he's really smart. Jerry Tipton coming up next. Jerry, thanks for being in the studio. We'll talk basketball. And Jerry will tell you why Kentucky's going to win a national championship, aren't you, Jerry? Is he rolling his eyes at me?
A little bit.
Just a little. I thought you'd say a lot.
I thought I was hiding it.
I'm hearing that voice. That was smart turning his mic on fast. Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914, 859-533-0914. Acupuncture, now also providing a licensed massage therapist. Acupuncture, Ramon Carriega, a friend on Versailles Road, really close to the radio station with the needles, and you put it in this, that, and the other. He's helped me tremendously. Call him, get an appointment. Please use my name. Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914. The Hall of Famer coming up next. Jerry Tipton, Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313, 859-381-1313. Hi, this is Alan Cutler, and I've spent years on these roads, and safety isn't a slogan to me, it's real life. That's one reason I trust Volvo. Quantrell Volvo has been part of this community for years. Brentley and Mark are friends of mine, and they run the dealership the right way with care, integrity, and real respect for the people they serve. If safety, smart design, and peace of mind matter to you, start your search at Quantrell Volvo. We have the XC60, the hybrid. We love it. Best car we've had in 43 years, and it is really smooth, and we're saving money on the gas. Right now, get financing as low as 0.99% APR for 36 months on most 2026 models. Visit QuantrellVolvo.com. See dealer for details.
March is here, and Clark's Pump and Shop has the game-winning specials to keep you fueled all month long. Whether you're hitting the road to catch a game or hosting a watch party, we've got unbeatable monthly deals. Stop in and pick up assorted M&M or Twix share-size candy bars, 2 for $4, and Mike and Ike's or Hot Tamales stand-up bags, 2 for $7. This March, make every stop a winner at Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
W223CV Lexington.
ESPN Sports Radio 1392.5, WLXG Lexington, and LM Communications Broadcasting Station. The only no-filter sports show in Kentucky. It's the Alan Cutler Show with award-winning TV sportscaster Alan Cutler.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. I wonder if every night when Jerry has dinner with his wife, does she say, Hall of Famer, I happen to make dinner tonight. Come to the do you get called Hall of Famer a lot, Jerry?
No, not at all, Alan.
Never at home, though, right?
I'm sorry?
But never, especially at home, right? Homes are different.
Not at home, no. No. All a shamer, maybe, but that might be about it.
I think I have a T-shirt that equals that. It's all good. Jerry, thanks for joining us. Give a quick plug for your book if somebody wants to read it. I finished it a number of months ago. Took me a while to get through the whole thing as I read in different cycles, but I enjoyed it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Deja Blue, that's the title. A sports writer, I think it says, reflects on 41 seasons of covering Kentucky basketball. And, I tell everybody, any reporter wants to cover something that the readers or the viewers or the listeners are really into. And I never doubted that Herald Leader readers were into Kentucky basketball. And so that made it fun and challenging. And, they let me know what they thought and what they didn't like. And that was good. Just try to learn from it and carry on.
And if nobody's responding to what you're doing, it's kind of like, is something wrong? Senior Day is tomorrow. Off the top of your head, I wish I could tell you I prepared these things. Off the top of your head, is there a senior day in 41 years that sticks out to you to be memorable or emotional, or maybe even though you have your reporter hat on, maybe the couple players you really, really liked and had a really good relationship that it meant more, that kind of thing?
Well, that's an interesting question. And my immediate thought was I remember Sam Bowie. I don't remember. He sat, my first 2 years covering Kentucky were the 2 years he sat out because of the stress fracture. So I only got to see him, I think, play that senior year. And nice guy, thoughtful guy. So he comes to mind. Don't ask me like details of the senior day.
No, that's okay.
And Kenny Walker was another guy that, I mean, I saw him play. I don't think there were any injuries like that. But he was a real nice guy, real, relatable human being. I always tried to think of the players as more than just players, as people. And those were the ones that I liked the most, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, it's worth. I don't remember the year, but the first time Happy Chandler sang My Old Kentucky Home on senior day, there were a lot of people with red eyes.
At my eyes, I might have teared up because he was I didn't realize he was a singer, or I don't know if he identified as a singer, but he very well done, very moving, his rendition of it. And it was too bad when that ended and he was no longer doing that.
Yeah, that was
really, really nice, sentimental thing that really hit home.
okay. This is up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. In the 41 years you covered Kentucky, plus still watching, but you're not watching like you were. It was your livelihood, everything you did. And forgetting about a bad year. Do you remember a team that's been so up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down? And I've racked my brain. I couldn't think of one, and I'm curious if you've thought of one.
Well, they've had teams, whenever they lose 10 games, there's like an alarm that goes off, double-figure games that losing. Remember, Tubby Smith, some fans called him 10-loss, and that wasn't a compliment, of course. And I jokingly, I shouldn't probably say this, but I jokingly told some friends that I wondered if Donna, his wife, called him 10-loss, like, hey, 10-loss, take the garbage out. I'm sure she didn't.
I'm sure
Terry,
I'm sure she didn't.
Unless,
wait a second, Terry, unless she didn't like the substitution pattern. No, I'm kidding.
But I think, and I've said this before to you, that I remember coaches saying there's much more parity now than there used to be. So it's a lot harder for Kentucky to be Kentucky. Now, if I'm a Kentucky fan, I'm probably thinking immediately, what about Duke? Duke is still Duke. But I do think it's harder. And, of course, with the injuries this year, I think there should just be an asterisk by this season. It's because losing three players, to me, the two most important positions when you're recruiting are point guard and big man. And both of those players are injured and have hardly played at all or haven't played much. And so, it hasn't been, I don't think it would be fair to make some sort of grand assessment on this particular season.
It's been rough at times for Pope. Do you think that's fair or not fair based upon what you said because of all the serious injuries?
Well, it's just part of the territory. That's Kentucky. I think I've always said, not always, but I like to say that Kentucky fans saw or see Kentucky as the Globetrotters, and everybody else is the Washington Generals. The other teams, their job is to lose to the Globetrotters. And if they even try to win, that's kind of like showing disrespect to the Globetrotters. So, there's not a lot of room for excuses. You're just supposed to be dominant.
I've never heard you say that before. That's a good analogy, Jerry. I like it.
Well, this year, this is the 6th straight year that they have not won the SEC regular season championship, or at least won a division, and that's only happened 1, 2, 3. I looked it up 4 times. This is the 4th time ever that they've gone more than 2 seasons without winning the SEC championship regular season.
Wow.
So it is what it is. And I think that could be used in the parity argument, but I don't know if anybody wants to accept that.
Oh, I think a lot of people don't want to accept that. With that in mind, and I'm not kidding you, Jerry. I promise you, I had the number 6 circled before you started mentioning that to ask you about 6. I promise you.
They went 7 years from 88 through 94, but they had the best record in 88, but it was taken away for rules violations. And so and then 2 of those years, 92 and 94, they won their division. If you remember, they had divisions back then. So, it's not quite this year. I mean, this is the 6th straight year, and it is what it is.
I thought last year was a success. Get to the Sweet 16. The Butler injury was devastating. Robinson was playing. He had his best 5 games collectively when he got hurt, and he had a wonderful game the other night in the CBA. And it's not going to surprise me if he's in the NBA next year. But I look at this: if they have an early out in both the NCAA and the SEC, is there a fear? And this is not all Mark Pope. Come on, everybody knows the last few years at Cal were terrible. But is there a fear to say, or do you think there'll be some national columnists who will suggest that Kentucky's not a blue blood anymore?
Well, I think we'd need to go a little further with that. But, I sometimes on websites like Sports Illustrated website, I remember recently they had a story about basketball coaches who are on the hot seat or their seat is getting warmer. And Mark Pope was not on the list. There were about 6 coaches, something like that. And so I think it's a tad early. It's only been 2 seasons, right, with Mark Pope. So, I know people are not patient, especially fans, but I think it's a little early for that.
I don't think Pope should be on any hot seat. I don't. I think it's a crazy important recruiting year for him because I think most of the team is going to be gone. He's going to have to recruit like crazy, but that's what all coaches have to do.
And I thought about, Kentucky being Kentucky, and every coach is second guessed, and, people aren't entirely satisfied. And that includes Adolph Rupp. Now, I wasn't here for this, but I remember hearing that people were saying that the game had passed Rupp by in his last decade or so of coaching. And so, if Adolph Rupp is not an exception, then there are no exceptions.
I've said this before, I haven't said it for a long time. See if you agree with this. If there was sports talk radio as prevalent then as it is today, the first time I said this, there really wasn't social media, so I didn't say it about that, but I'll toss it in there. If there was social media back then, it would have been much, 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 much rougher when I got here. And I'm sure you heard the same thing, the same stories about people thought he was too old, da 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 da. And he had a little bad luck at the end, but the program did slip. There's no question about it. I wonder if it would have been much, 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 much rougher for Rupp if he had to deal with the stuff that coaches have to deal with today.
Yes. I mean, because it's harder to escape it now because it's out there. And I don't look at social media much or the comments like that. When I was working, if I thought a story deserved a comment or so, then maybe I might look just to see what the reaction was. But most of the time, I did not. But I've always told people, I think fans it's like after a certain amount of time, they want a new toy to play with. And they've played with this coach and whatever success, had fun with it, but now they want a new toy.
Yep.
And I don't think we're at the new toy stage right now after, we're not even done with the second season. And what if they go on some sort of run in the postseason? I think that would calm the fans.
I think it would too. And by the way, I can make a case, for example, the women, they're getting blown out by South Carolina, but it's South Carolina. It's 59-36 with 4:55 to go in the third quarter. I kind of think that one of the things Pope says, and I buy this, that these kids are battle tested. This is a battle tested team. I think Brooks has a battle-tested team. I think because of the toughness of the SEC, could I see the women getting to the Sweet 16 easily? I could easily. I'm not saying national championship or something, and all of a sudden they're going to hit a wall and they're going to have to beat somebody that they're not supposed to beat, which is possible. You got Clara Strack and stuff, and so I think they're so battle tested from the conference. I think the women have a better shot of advancing in the NCAA tournament than I think a lot of people think. Conversely, I kind of think the same for Kentucky. Unless they're playing like a number 2 seed in the second round because their seed is so bad, those kinds of things with the numbers and that kind of stuff. That's why I think the Florida game is imperative. This is nuts. They could play on Wednesday and they could still get the double bye. That's almost goofy to have one game, obviously based on what other teams do and stuff like that. It's almost goofy, the different parameters. And if they get the double bye, I think, and I'm sure you think the same way, it'll help their seed in the NCAA tournament tremendously. And with a little better seed, they could get to the Sweet 16 because they are so battle tested.
Yeah, I think they're out. They can't get the 1, 2, or 3 seed in the
Correct.
SEC tournament.
Correct.
But they could get the 4th seed. But as I understand it, Missouri and A&M have the if they're tied with Kentucky, they would get the 4th seed. Either one.
Yes.
So, and I think let me think. A&M is playing at LSU, which you would think is a winnable game. So, I wouldn't bet a lot of money on Kentucky getting that 4th seed, but it's still possible.
Well, let's put it this way. If they can play their way out of Wednesday, to me, that's huge. I don't think in our lifetime.
No doubt.
We're not going to see a team for 2 reasons. One, you're not good, obviously, if you're playing Wednesday, but also you can't play that many days in a row and have legs.
I thought that game recently, and you would probably remember who they played. I'm drawing a blank.
Maybe not.
But Oway did not play very well. Didn't score many points. Didn't shoot well, and they still won. I don't know if it was Vandy or at South Carolina.
I remember the game, and I'm trying to remember which one it was. Go ahead.
But I thought that said something about their competitiveness, because I think Oway's been an important player, obviously, setting a tone and all of that. And yet they won that game. And I'm a firm believer that every game is its own adventure. So I don't think, I think they can beat a lot of teams, but I also think they can lose to a lot of teams. So we just have to kind of strap on the seatbelt and away we go.
It's interesting you say that because Oway's comment afterwards was it was nice to see that if I don't have a good game, we can still win.
Right.
And he made that comment. What's in your notebook? It tipped in. Look, Jerry, depending upon how old you are, Jerry was famous for his Sunday notebook column where he would have all these notes and put it together. And he comes to the radio station prepared with notes. So I want to make sure we drain your notebook. What's your next tidbit in your notebook that you like?
Well, the one I looked up, I was curious about, when it was obvious Kentucky was not going to win the SEC regular season championship. I wondered, had they ever won the NCAA tournament, the national championship, despite not winning the SEC? And the answer is yes. 7, they've won it 8 times, the NCAA tournament. 7 times they won the SEC tournament, and or the SEC regular season title. But the exception is 97, Tubby Smith's national championship. They finished. They had the second best record in the SEC. They were 13-3, and South Carolina was 15-1, and South Carolina won the Eastern Division, I think it was, and but Kentucky won the championship, the NCAA championship. So, we'll see.
That was Eddie Fogler at South Carolina, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, he didn't like me.
Why not?
Something I said that really ticked him off, and I'm trying to remember what it was, but he said something and I said something and he said something and I didn't back down from him. I wasn't disrespectful, but I snapped back at him and
Was that in a post-game press conference?
Yes,
you were there. I remember that.
You were there, dude.
Yeah. I kind of remember that, and he was feisty.
Yes,
he would speak his mind if he felt the need to.
Can I say this? He's another obnoxious New Yorker.
Well,
hey, Jerry, I'm looking in the mirror too. Fair?
Well, I don't know what to say to that, but I'm taking an Ollie class on the prohibition. And I may get this wrong, but the 1928 election, Al Smith was the Democratic candidate
He
for
was.
president, and he
Yes.
was characterized as an obnoxious New Yorker, and he lost the election. So draw whatever conclusion you want to draw.
He pulled that. And I did remember Al Smith, by the way.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that. And Herbert Hoover, he was he supported prohibition, although he was a drinker. So draw whatever conclusion you want to draw.
I didn't know that or forgot it. One or the other. Herbert Hoover, known for not being one of the great presidents of all time. You got anything else besides Al Smith in your notebook? If not, I got a couple things to throw at you here.
No, start throwing.
No. You go in your notebook first. I want to make sure we squeeze your Turner.
The only other thing that I needed to look up just to make sure was on that tiebreaker for the fourth doubles bye. What is the tiebreaker formula? And first is head-to-head.
Right.
And that's where A&M and I'm trying to remember who two teams have the edge there over
Missouri.
Missouri, thank you. And then it goes to, okay, what was if they're tied, or who has the best record against the number 1 seed, and then the number 2 if it's tied, then 3, 4, 5, and on down. And if it's tied all the way through, flip a coin. So there you go.
Love to be there when they flip the coin. That'll be
be a story.
That'll be must-see TV, right?
Who calls, heads or tails, I wonder. I wonder if they flip to see.
Wait a second. That's a great point. Hang on, Jerry. Hang on. Isn't there a rule that says who gets the call, the flip of the coin? Did they not think of this?
If it's there, I haven't seen it.
Well, you looked it up, right?
Well, I just saw that was the order of how they try to decide it. But I don't know. I didn't think of it until just this moment. Who gets to call heads or tails?
I think we should investigate. Okay, Mitch Barnhart is retiring, and Linda Blackford, who you know, wrote a column about a golden parachute. I asked her on a dime. She was kind enough to do the show yesterday. Really, really good.
I heard some of that. Yeah.
I was even pushing. I didn't want to read portions of the column on purpose because I wanted people to read it because I thought it was that good. She's a very talented lady, as you know much better than me. What do you think of Mitch's golden parachute gig for $950,000? Plus, as has been pointed out to me by a number of people, I knew it, but it's interesting how many people who have come at me privately. Cutler, you have no idea what those tickets are worth. Well, no, I have an idea, and you have an idea too, Jerry. We've been doing this a long time, but it was the point of somebody trying to point it out. For a position that the president says he hasn't figured out yet, at $950,000 for 2 years each. Were you as shocked as I am?
Well, I was. I just kind of assumed that you made similar money here with the radio show.
Jimmy, can't you keep your mouth shut?
To be honest, and this doesn't necessarily apply to the Mitch Barnhart thing, but it seems like more and more money is a central factor in sports, pro, which of course pro, and college, and probably high school too. And that's a turnoff for me. I don't, it doesn't matter to me. Of course, I was never in line to get this kind of money. Maybe that would make a big difference.
Okay, so the money is coming out of the athletics funds, not the general funds. And as Linda pointed out yesterday, after she wrote the story, Jay Blanton called up and said, no, we made a mistake. It's not coming from the general funds. It's coming from the athletic funds. And she didn't want to tell me how many, whatever, but she did say she got a lot of comments, as I would expect, so would you, from UK professors and stuff who are trying to get a little raise and see that somebody's making $950,000 a year for a position that they haven't figured out yet, unless they really know they don't want to release it to us yet, which wouldn't be the first time. I'm not speculating, Jerry. I don't have any idea. But it seems to me That's an outrageous salary. And if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. And again, I don't know enough.
Yeah, I don't either. You know, I have no idea what his duties will be. I read Linda's column, and I think there was a regular story about it. And I mean, I don't know. To me, there's a lot of unknown there that will have to be figured out. And now here's how naive I am, Alan. I thought about all that money that sports is bringing in. If the school got a pretty big portion of that, maybe they could lower tuition and more students could afford to go to college and benefit from that.
That would be nice.
That was naive as all get out.
Yes.
But that thought did cross my little mind.
Well, no, you have the thoughts of the common person, which is a lovely thought. But the athletics department is borrowing millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars for the first time. And they used to be so solvent and give back. They were in the green and they'd give back X number of millions of dollars to the general fund every year. Those days are done. Okay. Let me ask you this. Did you see what Jenna Lifshin put on Twitter the other day? You're probably not glued like you would have been. Let's put it this way. You would have been glued about 4 years ago, not now. So I shouldn't have put it that way, Jerry. I apologize. So she's the assistant editor of the Kentucky Kernel. She covers UK for them. And when Mitch's retirement came out, I want to read this word for word because I don't want to get sued and I don't want to misconstrue and I want to make sure it's accurate. There are some TV people like to be accurate, Jerry. I just thought I'd let you know that. I'm kidding. Okay, serious now. Mitch Barnhart's retirement comes only weeks after the Lexington Herald Leader published an article detailing an investigation into former assistant cross-country and track coach Hakan DeVries for alleged sexual harassment and stalking. Barnhart is currently involved in an ongoing lawsuit against the University of Kentucky filed by two former swim coaches. According to the lawsuit, the university allowed former coach Lars Jorgensen to foster a, quote, toxic, sexually hostile environment within the swim program, end of quote. Jorgensen was accused of rape and sexual assault amongst other Title IX violations. Jenna's doing the show on Monday, and I inferred, and so did Jonathan Davis when he did the show, who you know, and I don't remember if Mark Story did or not, so let me say no. But I asked Mark to comment on it, and he said he'd be more concerned about the lawsuit than the first part, and it is concerned. And I just wonder, I know nothing. But Jerry, as a Hall of Fame reporter, would you wonder if the retirement is tied to any of this, or is it just sometimes in life, is it a coincidence? And I'll say I have no idea. But would you be suspicious when you were trying to run down a story for something like this?
Well, I think it's a fair question to ask, Eli Capilouto and other people, just to get a response to that. And that was always a motivating thing. I had a reputation for asking hard questions. And I was just trying to improve the story and ask questions that I thought would come to mind for the reader. And so I would think, it doesn't seem far-fetched to think that there would be Kentucky fans who would wonder that in going over this situation. So I think it's a fair question to ask.
Yeah, I have no idea, but
I don't either.
I don't either. But bullseye for you, it's a fair question to ask. Do you think it'll be asked today at the press conference?
Well, I don't. I hope so. Like I say, I think it's a legitimate question, and we'll see.
Does this taint, in your opinion, Mitch Barnhart's legacy at all after 24 years here?
You mean this basketball team this season?
No, not these two things that I just talked about from Jenna Lifson.
Right. Well, I think it's part. I wouldn't think it's a major thing, assuming he's not involved in any of that or trying to cover it up or any of that sort of thing. I think there's more information that would need to come out, and then whatever effect that might have on his legacy would be the result of that.
And there's supposed to be a trial, I think, in 2027 with Jorgensen. Jerry, anything else about this basketball team you like, you don't like, it drives you crazy? I don't think anything drives you crazy after doing this for 41
No.
years. You can turn
No,
it
nothing
off
drives
when the
me
game's
crazy.
over and
And
go
I
to
like
sleep.
drama, Alan. I like games that come down to the last 3 or 4 minutes. And this team has had a number of those games, as you know. So it's fun to watch, and I think they're playing harder and competing harder. So, I don't think it's going to be, if they make a run, and which would, of course, delight Kentucky fans, I don't think they're going to just breeze through to the Elite Eight or whatever. I think it'll take real effort and clutch play, and, we'll just have to see.
I think they have a shot, but nothing will be easy.
They could. Like I said, I think they can beat a lot of teams, but I do also think a lot of teams can beat them. And so, that it's hard, it's hard to predict. I mean, people will predict it's easy to predict, but it's hard to know, have confidence in your prediction.
As long as they don't lose to somebody like Oakland again. Why did I think of that?
Well, remember that shooter for Oakland? I think he made like 10 threes.
He was crazy.
They were good. I
Yes.
thought they played really well. And, these things happen. I thought that about St. Peter's. If you remember, that was my last game covering.
That was your last game. I didn't realize that.
Yes. And St. Peter's advanced to the Elite Eight that year. And, I think they were good. Kentucky was good, but they were also good. And I don't think people give enough credit. Yes, Kentucky's good, but there are a lot of good teams. And when two good teams play, only one of them's going to win.
Well, look at Wichita State. When Kentucky beat them, they were undefeated. That was a really, 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 really good team, Wichita State.
Yeah.
That was a heck of a game, too. Jerry, thank you for your time. I don't know if you're busy next week, but if you have a half hour, I'd love to have you come back and talk how Kentucky's doing the SEC.
Yeah, I enjoy. That should be a great tournament, the SEC. It's pretty wide open. And, Florida, you got to like Florida, but we'll see. I think it should be very competitive.
Hopefully some surprises, some upsets, those kinds of things which make it more fun. Hey, Jerry, I appreciate you coming in the studio tremendously. Thank you so much. Enjoy watching the games.
I enjoyed coming on, Alan. Take care.
Thanks. Jerry Tipton, Hall of Famer, Lexington Herald leader, 41 years covering Kentucky. Terry Page, Terry Page. Not a very good, a great licensed massage therapist. I was at our new office yesterday, 820 Porter Place, Suite 3. You get off of Sales Road, go to the end of the block, and go to the side, and the entrance is on the side there. And actually, she's right a block away from her own Carriega. It's funny how this thing works out. And she's wonderful. She's helped me out tremendously in Lexington on Thursday and Friday, in Butler, Kentucky, Monday and Tuesday. So folks in the Cincinnati area can go check her out. Please call her and use my name or text her to set up an appointment. 859-373-0578. 859-373-0578. Sean Woods coming up next. Alan Cutler. Thank you to Jerry Tipton. Thank you to Bo Allen. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
March is here, and Clark's Pump and Shop has
Slogan to me, it's real life. That's one reason I trust Volvo. Quantrell Volvo has been part of this community for years. Brentley and Mark are friends of mine, and they run the dealership the right way with care, integrity, and real respect for the people they serve. If safety, smart design, and peace of mind matter to you, start your search at Quantrell Volvo. We have the XC60, the hybrid. We love it. Best car we've had in 43 years, and it is really smooth. And we're saving money on the gas. Right now, get financing as low as 0.99% APR for 36 months on most 2026 models. Visit QuantrellVolvo.com. See dealer for details.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. It was just a couple years ago when Sean Woods went through his senior day. I'm sure he remembers it like it was yesterday. Sean, how are you, buddy? How's Scott County High doing? And tell me about your senior day at the University of Kentucky playing for that, what was his name? Oh, yeah, Patino.
Everything's all good, Bubs. Senior night, wow. That was a great night. We wasn't that great for me because I got into a little altercation with the guard Jay Price on senior night, and both of us had to spend the rest of the game in the locker room. But senior night's a special night, especially at the University of Kentucky. You know what I mean? When you hear that My Old Kentucky Home song come on, and every senior says they're not gonna cry. And that's the number one deal going into the game for seniors is, are you going to cry? And some do, some don't, but most of the guys try not to. And Coach Pitino had a really good, from a mental standpoint, how you look at it. You celebrate it, but you can't lose on your senior night. And we made sure that we did it, even though I didn't get to play most of the night. Allen Houston and the Tennessee Vols came in and made it tough, but we found a way to win.
And you cried.
No, I did not. You can go back and watch the video. I did not cry.
Are you sure?
Not one tear. Not one tear.
Not a sniffle?
I didn't say not a sniffle, but not a tear.
No, wait a second. Jimmy, I want your immediate help here. I need you to be the judge. Jimmy, he says he didn't cry, but he had a sniffle. A sniffle is crying. Yes or no?
No,
no, a sniffle is like a sniff in like your snotty nose or something, right? I didn't drop one tear, Bubs. I'm telling you, I didn't.
Okay, Jimmy's swallowing. He's eating his lunch while we're talking. But I got to tell you, I've never said this to you, Jimmy, and I couldn't be more serious. I will cry if you're not on my side for this one. Go ahead. What's your opinion?
No, I would say you could sniffle or even have, get a little teary-eyed. But if no tears come out, I wouldn't consider that as crying. You could maybe feel some emotions, but if no tears come out, that's not really crying.
I have never been more disappointed in you and Jimmy until this moment. I'm never disappointed in you. What do I got to be disappointed in? You're great. I'm hurt, Jimmy. I'm hurt. I might not sleep this weekend. And Sean Woods, I could feel your smile coming through the phone.
You already know I'm smiling because you always want look at the way you look at it. But I'm just telling you, I didn't. A sniffle and a cry is not the same. A sniffle and a tear is not the same. And I did not drop a tear. That's all I can say. I didn't.
Okay, I'm remembering that Pelfrey did.
Pelfrey didn't either.
Really?
None of us did. None of us did.
None of you guys cried?
No, we had this pact. We weren't going to cry, and I don't think our parents cried either. I think Richie's sister, looking at the video, she probably cried a little bit, but everybody stayed stern, man. It was a heck of a night, and emotions were flying, but I don't know how we sustained, but we did.
Tell us about the conversation about you guys saying you're not going to cry and knowing that whoever did, you guys are going to bust their chops really, really bad. Tell me about the conversation, you guys probably yelling and screaming at you. I'm not going to cry. You're not going to cry. What's that like?
Well, you had the underclassmen too, Jamal Mashburn and all those guys. They were teasing us like, you guys going to cry, man. Y'all going to cry. Y'all going to cry when y'all get out there. We were like, no, we're not. And we didn't.
You're no fun right now. Why do I ask you to do the show? I really thought you did cry.
We did. Nobody cried, Bubs. Nobody cried.
Okay,
you might call and ask somebody else, but nobody in my class cried.
Okay.
I mean, I'd say that we weren't highly emotional. We just didn't shed a tear.
Fair. Thanks for your support, Jimmy. I never really asked for his support. This is the one time in 4 years I wanted his support. because it's huge. Because it's you. That's why I needed your support. Okay, figure this basketball team out because I can't up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. You're going to think I'm nuts, but I think because they've lost some games, as you know all too well, that they never should have lost. And they've won a couple games. You've gone, I think they're going to play really good against Florida. I think the crowd's going to go freaking nuts. It is senior day. I think they're going to support them. And you know, Florida can lose the game now. I mean, it's possible they're going to win the national championship and not lose another game, but I'm not going to be surprised if they lose a game. And unless they get to the Final Four, it'll be somebody who upset them, and they're really good. They pound the boards. They own the boards. They're destroying people on the boards. But I could paint a scenario where they can win, and I think they're going to play well. Tell me I'm nuts.
No, you're not nuts. Let me tell you something, Bubs. It's hard winning on the road in the SEC. It's hard winning on the road, period. Okay? You know, if Kentucky was ranked number 5 in the country and they get beat at Texas A&M, that's happened before. Okay, Cal lost to Texas A&M before with good teams and still had good years and ended with good years. But, you know, we can't be on this deal. It's coming down the stretch. You know, everybody's fighting for, you know, seeding purposes and things like that. But don't look at that Texas A&M loss as a bad loss. That wasn't a bad loss. Texas A&M was hungry, and they were in the same boat that Kentucky was in, almost identical records. The good thing for them was they got to play that game at home, and Kentucky didn't. I think Kentucky beats Texas A&M at home under the same circumstances, but unfortunately, it wasn't a home game for Kentucky, and Texas A&M, you know, won that situation. They took care of home. Now, coming up tomorrow on Saturday, I like Kentucky's chances because they're at home. It's hard to beat Kentucky. I don't care how bad they are or how tough a season is at Kentucky, especially on senior night. Just walking in Kentucky, period. So, yes, Kentucky does have a chance. Does Kentucky have to play well? No doubt about it. And they do have to play well, but I don't see them not playing well on not just senior night, but being at home the last game of the season. Because they got a lot riding on this game, too.
A ton, actually. And I look at it this way. I mean, if they have to play on Wednesday, because they're gonna have to get a lot of help, but they could actually get the double bye. Odds are not very good. But if they have to play on Wednesday, tell me if I'm being too strong. I think that's embarrassing to the University of Kentucky basketball program. Am I being too strong here?
No. A couple of my teammates have voiced their opinion on that, too. We've become very average in the middle of the pack the last few years, and that's what has been so unsuccessful. I mean, you know, it's just that's what's considered unsuccessful, and it's not being tolerated. You know what I mean? And you know, we all are, you know, are upset that we become, you know, in the middle of the pack when we've always been in the top 1 or 2 every year in the standings. So, you know, hopefully this can change, but right now, that's where we are. We're in the middle of the pack. I think we're, 7th place, 6th place, 7th place, something like that. And, you know, that's unacceptable. And, you know, I see a team that's not as talented as the Kentucky's teams have been in the past. But I see a relentless coach who's trying to do everything he can to salvage you know, this deal. I think they're playing their butts off. I think they're playing as hard as they can play. But sometimes other teams are good, and sometimes the circumstances poses itself to where, you know, that team was at home, and you know, it's tough.
Jimmy, I want to play a soundbite. Can you please be kind enough to cue up? See, I'm saying kind enough now because I'm so hurt by your last comment, Jimmy. Could you please be kind enough? I couldn't say it with a straight face. Can you please be kind enough to cue up Brandon Ramsey's comment? And he's got it in Sean. Let me give you the setup. Brandon Ramsey, who's kind enough to show a ton just like you do, which I appreciate you, Sean. I do. And he said this, but since you lived it and lived and died with it, sweating for Kentucky, one of the things that bothers me about the program, look, they could surprise everybody, go deep in the tournament. That would be great. But one of the things that surprised me, when you guys got it back together after that 500 season, people feared Kentucky again. They feared you guys. You guys were running people off the court. But now I don't think anybody fears Kentucky. So I asked Ramsey if he agreed with me that no one fears Kentucky. I want his answer. Then I want you to respond. Here it is.
No, I would say that is completely true and fair. I mean, you see it. The team has 11 losses. Like, yeah, they have some good moments, but this is just not a team that should be feared. They're the 28th best team in the country. They're the 30th best team in the country, whatever you want to call them. Like those teams don't instill much fear in anybody. And I think that you're exactly right. You know, it used to come with the territory of like playing Kentucky, you knew it was going to be hard to win because you're playing Kentucky. And I think that now it's almost like exciting because you have the opportunity to beat Kentucky.
John Woods, that was Brandon Ramsey of KSR, who has wonderful analysis of basketball. What do you think about how people look at Kentucky differently than in the good old days?
He's dead on. He's dead on. Nobody, and now that the transfer portal's in, not only you don't fear Kentucky, you don't fear their personnel. And, you thinking that, shoot, I'm just as good as him or I am better than him. Mano a mano, one versus one. So that goes a long way too. Not just the team, but, they're looking at across the players that Kentucky has. It's like, man, these dudes, they ain't got a pro on their team. They ain't got nobody who's going to be a lottery pick next year.
Is that recruiting?
They don't. I mean, it's everything. We don't have a pro. We don't have a first rounder. We don't have a lottery pick. And you look at all these Power 5 teams, that are up in the standings, they got pros on their team. They got lottery picks. We don't have one. So that tells you a lot. You can have all the X's and O's, but as we always say, you got to have Jim and Joe's. And we don't have the high major, the high level, not the high level, but the high pro prospect Jimmy's and Joe's right now.
Doug Barnes last week, before 2 games ago, when I asked him what Kentucky needed to do to improve for the rest of the season, he spent about a minute talking about defense, and I made it the clip of the day. And you're a big defensive guy, too. I still think that Kentucky could use you as their defensive coordinator, but that's me. What do I know, Sean, right? For them to put on a nice run, which I honestly believe is possible, as I've said a number of times, as a coach, and a former star player, what does this team need to do?
They need to lock in, lose themselves for about a week, and really, there are ways that they can beat every team throughout a scout. Your coaches, they come up with a game plan, and whatever that game plan is, if it's a really good one and you execute it, that's your best chance to winning. But I'm watching our, women play right now, and they're playing South Carolina. And they, they hadn't had the season that they would have liked either. But, they were going on a run and they won 2 games in the SEC tournament. But can you sustain Wednesday through Saturday or Wednesday through Sunday? Can you sustain a Thursday through Sunday? And you got to play the toughest teams in the country, especially moving up in by playing in the SEC tournament. So can you sustain? Do we have enough in the tank to pull this off? Or can we have 2 really, really good games? Okay, lose on Friday, maybe Saturday, but lose, lose on Friday or Saturday, and have good momentum going into the NCAA tournament. Because guess what? NCAA tournament is totally different than the SEC. You can knock off some people. You're better than a lot of people that you'll play as long as you don't run into a number 1 or number 2 seed. I think we can beat every 3 seed in the country. We're capable of, but I don't know if we're good enough to beat the number 2 and the number 1 seeds. So I think we can, with all that being said, this team has shown flashes of being really, really good. They just can't stay consistent. And, we're looking for that. And if they can, get on a run, not winning the national championship per se, but can we win 3 games to get to the Sweet 16? I don't say that's impossible.
I won't
and
be
we get
shocked
to the
if they
Sweet 16.
Go ahead, Sean.
We get to the Sweet 16. We get to the Sweet 16. I think Pope squeezed all the juice out of this tournament. All the controversy and things that went on throughout the year, and he was able to sustain and keep this team together. I think he needs to get kudos for that, for just keeping this team together. That was a hard. He was just trying to find his way with the team, let alone trying to get them to play hard and play together to win. Once he got that established, now they became more, of a team and gave themselves a chance to win. And they did win some games that they weren't supposed to win, but they did, like you said, they lost some games that they weren't supposed to lose. But that's the inconsistency of personnel, injuries, and all that type of deal. But the fact that he kept his team together and they're fighting, I think that's kudos. I think he needs kudos. But that's not, after this season, we got to really get, recruiting's got to get better. We got to become more competitive from a recruiting standpoint and getting grown men like these other teams got. The other teams that we're playing. So recruiting's got to be the number one thing right now. I know we're trying to get through the season and finalize the season, but man, we need some players.
Do you believe he needs a general manager? Because it sounds like defending him, he's talked to people but hasn't found the right person. So if you're talking to people, that means you do want to do it.
I think he needs to. You know what I'm saying? I think he needs to get somebody out there to get him players. We can say what we want, but you know what I'm saying? It's tough when, you've never recruited at this level. You don't have the contacts at this level. People really don't know you. They're starting to get to know you because you're Kentucky's basketball coach now. But, in recruiting and getting players that that you're supposed to get at the University of Kentucky, those comes with relationships. And, he's making a name for himself now as far as getting people to trust him. But that's what it takes, to get the players that you need. Florida's beating them in recruiting every year. I mean, Arkansas is beating them in recruiting. I mean, pretty much he's not really killing nobody, out recruiting nobody in the SEC. And when you're not out recruiting nobody in the SEC, that's not good.
Sean, as always, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. And you sniffled on senior day. You didn't cry. I'll concede it. It's okay. Thank you, brother.
But I really thank you, man. But Buzz, before I leave, I really think they can win 2 games and get on the road a little bit, and at least win a couple games in the NCAA tournament, and then we can go back to the drawing board and see who's out there for us to get.
Sounds good. Hey, man, appreciate you. Good luck rest of the season, and hopefully we can chat next week.
All right, buddy.
Hey, Sean, you're the best. I don't care what Jimmy says.
Hey, man, I know Jimmy's got all good with me, man. It's you who's like Dow Jones, but you've been pretty steady here lately. So the market's been good with Bubs and Sean.
That's my fault. Sean Woods, he had to get the last shot in, didn't he? Can you feel his laugh that he got the last shot in?
Yeah, he had to.
Yeah, he had to. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Jerry Tipton. Thank you, Bo Allen. And hope all 3 will be back again. Jimmy, have yourself a blessed weekend. Good luck. Fingers crossed. Is it good to say, hope you become a daddy this weekend, or do you need another week?
Maybe another weekend, or maybe midweek next week.
Okay.
There's a chance it could happen this weekend, but I'm hoping next weekend. Given another week would be nice.
Coming up at 4 o'clock is
Wildcat Drive with Matthew and Jimmy.
Brad Taylor coming up next. Have yourself a great weekend. Thank you so much for listening.